Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Welcome. Hello, everybody. Hi. And we have our audience. It's a big audience, can't you tell? Thanks for joining me today. You are here at Balanced Life with me, Debbie Carlin Boyle. This is Conversations that Connect to a Healthier You. And I'm so glad that you joined us today because I got one of those conversations for you today. And I want you to listen because this could be a game changer for you in how you think about your health and wellness. So this is going to be an interesting, provocative conversation, and we want you to join in. So to do that, you can call here at area code 323-524-2599. That's 323-524-2599. I'll mention it again before we get going. At any point, if you feel compelled to become part of the conversation with a question or a comment or any kind of observation, call in. We want to talk to you about it because that's the idea, is that we have a conversation that you are part of as well. If you are not watching us live, the other way to do it is I'm on Facebook streaming live right now, Balanced Life by Debbie, and I think we're streaming live. We're back up on ubngo.com. That's ubngo.com. And you can go there and watch us, and you can make a comment on my Instagram, Balanced Life by Debbie, or my Facebook page. And after the show, we will get back to you with an answer or response to your comment. So once again, I am a health and nutrition coach. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a fitness instructor. And I like to try to help people find out what's unique to them between what their goals are and what their obstacles are, and see if we can overcome those obstacles by just picking at them one baby step at a time. And it's always good to have somebody to be accountable to, and that's what health coaching is all about. So I would love for you to work with me. If you go to my website, it's Balanced Life by Debbie, DEBI.com. And if you go there right now, you're going to see a spring detox come up. And basically, it's going to be a little different than what we're talking about today. These are just healthy recipes to help you kind of flush out. It's good nutrients, good food, and you just go on it for 3 days. I think, no, it's 5 days. And you just feel amazing when the 5 days are up. So you want to go check that out. That's a free download for you right away. And get a hold of me. There's a place to just reach out and subscribe, and I will get back to you right away. And then we'll do a free intake and see what's going on with you and see how I can help you. I would love that. And also remember, I have my YouTube channel full of shows. Between my two YouTube channels, I have over 200 shows that I've been doing for all these years. And I've hit on every modality in the health and wellness field. So if you have any question you have about whether it's hormones or whether it's anti-aging or exercise specifically, there's a show on it there for you. So go ahead and go to Balanced Life by Debbie YouTube and subscribe. That's what we need you to do, is subscribe, and then you'll get alerts. So, all right, remember I said I have an interesting show for you today, and it's kind of about detoxing, but it's really about optimizing your health, because detoxing literally means a process or period of time in which one rids the body of toxic or unhealthy substances. Now, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't anybody want to do that? So my guest today is Sara Banta, who knows all about this. Sara is the owner of Accelerated Health Products and the host of Accelerated Health Radio and TV, where she interviews the top experts in optimizing body, mind, and spirit to help you increase your frequency and live your best life. Sara is also a health coach, a natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 with a degree from Stanford University in economics and psychology. She is also a graduate, as well as I am, of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and the Invincible Wellness System. As a mother of 3 teenagers, Sara has had the opportunity to solve a broad spectrum of health issues affecting every member of her family. Sara's goal is to help her clients and listeners reach their optimal state of health through proper detox supplements, cutting-edge technologies, and the modalities. So let's talk all about that. So will you please welcome to my show, Sara Banta. And there's that audience again. There it is. Hi,
Hello,
Sara.
Debbie.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you in this beautiful spring afternoon in Southern California?
Yes, it's you know what? There's a lot of things that you can say about California, but our weather really is hard to beat, isn't it?
Yeah, we really can't complain. We don't have a lot to
No.
complain about, and it is a beautiful day today. It's not too hot, not too cold, just right. And I mean, you're in a beautiful city. You're in Newport, right?
I'm in Newport Beach. Yep.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna take
Born
a
and raised.
oh, really? A native.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a trip down there this weekend with my youngest daughter. We're gonna head
Oh,
to Laguna for Mother-Daughter Memorial Day weekend.
I
So
love Laguna.
I know
It's
I mean,
very charming.
again, what's not to love? It's just one of the most beautiful places in the world, I think. I really do think so. Um, but I want to welcome you to the show because I'm excited. I sought you out because I really haven't done a show for a long time, actually, or even at all, with the expertise that you have on detoxing and cleansing and the importance of that to our longevity and our overall health and feeling good and looking good and everything, and how we can do that simply we have everything at our fingertips. We don't have to be all, have doctors involved and get all crazy about this. We
Mhm.
can really take control of our health this way. And I want to get all into that, but you have an amazing backstory about why and how you got into what you do. Because you have a psychology background that, which I'm sure you use to this
Oh
day
yeah.
with what you're doing. But I want to hear your story, your health story, the road that you've taken to get to where you're at today. So we know that you were born and raised in Newport Beach. So take it from there.
Yeah, no, if you had told my high school self that I was going to be podcasting, I was very shy. There was no way I'd be in front of a microphone. But my passion overtook me. And the reason is I'd always felt like food just, I couldn't get away with feeling good after eating the pizza and the other stuff that most people could. But I just thought I was a picky eater. And then I fast forward to during my pregnancies, and there were issues there, intestinal spasms and some other things going on. But then I go to the GI doctor, and the GI doctor doesn't remember my name, let alone give me a true diagnosis of couldn't help me, which led me to seeking alternative, practitioners to help with unwinding what was going on in my body. And little did I know, I was overloaded with heavy metals. I was on the verge of Crohn's disease, major IBS, PCOS, fertility issues, acne. Even though I'm no longer a teenager, this was into my late 20s and early 30s, and I was ready to fight the wrinkles but still fighting the acne, and just a lot of things going on. And we started peeling my health like an onion. Well, as I was doing that and taking care of myself, my eldest, who was 9 years old at the time, his energy started weighing. His skin started turning yellow. And I'm sitting there going, this kid is not the kid that I know. He went from the typical boy that really tried in school, loved to play with his friends outside, to not wanting to go to a 20-minute swim lesson, and to not have the energy at school. I would be working in the classroom, and I'd sit there and watch him just have his hand on his head and not have the energy to do his schoolwork. And so we got him tested through my natural practitioner at the time through a machine called the SKIO machine. And that's a device that scans over 30,000 items in your body. This is the machine that actually helped me uncover what was going on in my body. And leukemia came up. And essentially, we were told that if we didn't do anything about this right away, that we were going to have a really serious issue on our hands. So we started him with what's now my flagship product, the Accelerated Scalar Silver. And I cleaned up his diet. Now, this is before I knew everything I know now about diet. So I cleaned it up as best I could. And that was 10 years ago. That boy, within 1 year, we tested his blood again. Not only were the cancer cells gone, but his blood was beautiful. All of the fungus and parasites and nutrient deficiencies, all of that was gone. And his blood was nice and dark and plump and really, it's the kind of blood that you want to see in underneath a microscope. And since that day, so that was over 10 years ago, he hasn't been on antibiotics. He got through all of junior high, all of elementary school, all of high school without antibiotics. Same with my 2 daughters following him and feeling great. And not only that, he then went on to break a record at the national level for a rowing crew. So here we had a kid that wouldn't do a 20-minute swim lesson. Now he's a national record holder. Wow. And his 2 sisters were very similar. I would say my eldest daughter, no cancer, but she had anemia and allergies and all of these issues where like it was hard to get her off the couch at the age of 4 to ride a bike around the block. Wow. And now she is rowing at the national level. So
yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think it was food related from the get-go, from the time they were little, not knowing better about nutrition and understanding? I mean, I guess, we did the best we could as moms, but they're just understanding, what gluten does and what sugar does and all the additives that are in processed food. Do you think that had a lot to do with both of them being so compromised?
It's interesting you say that. So I don't think it's one thing. We are living in a very toxic world. Mm-hmm. Both kids, the issues came up as vaccine related. So because there's a lot of heavy metals and toxicity in the childhood vaccines. And so for them, and I'm not judging on anyone's decision to vaccinate or non-vaccinate their children, but for those 2, it was definitely something that triggered an autoimmune issue. And then you add in the fact that I was feeding my son microwavable corn dogs. And I'm the last person to judge any mom in what she's doing because I did everything wrong. And now I'm trying to, with 1,000% effort, trying to unwind the damage that I've done. And hopefully my kids forgive me for all of that.
But it wasn't any fault of yours. I mean, that's the bill of goods that were being sold. I mean, you actually sort of jumped ship from the norm in order to turn everything around for them and to get into the whole health world. And that's not what the average parent does. It was no fault of yours. You don't need forgiveness. And thank goodness that you were able to turn things around, because it could have been very catastrophic and for the kids and for yourself, obviously. So
absolutely. And when I started on this natural health path, I had everyone against me. People thought I was crazy. And Sara, you're not going to let your son have a juice box? What are you doing? You're depriving him. Well, he's got health issues. And so with that, it wasn't just, we talk about detoxing, and we need our lives today are bombarded by GMOs, by heavy metals, by radiation, by the solvents in our laundry detergent and our soaps, and what are we putting in our hair. All of these things are just piling on each other. So was it one thing? No, it's the tip of the iceberg, right?
Right.
It's our bodies can handle just so much toxins, and our livers are meant to deal with what our ancestors dealt with, not what we're dealing with today. And that's where you had mentioned that word detox, and it can be a scary word for people, but that's where my passion has come in to make it easy. I want to make people feel good day one of a cleanse and not feel hungry. My cleanses are not juicing. I actually wrote an article about why juicing is not good for you, but that we're eating real animal protein and you're not hungry. You actually sometimes you can't finish the food that you think you're supposed to eat. And you take a few supplements, help your liver and your gallbladder cleanse, increase your energy while you're doing it, brain and body. The brain fog goes away, the skin breakouts go away, your motivation increases, your pain decreases, inflammation goes down, your hormones get back in check. I mean, as we get older, as you know, perimenopause and menopause, we can't get away with what we got away with 10 years ago.
No, I just did a show on that. My last show was all about that. And talking about men too. I mean, men aren't exempt from that, you know, so that's what happens as we age. And being aware of what happens as we age and making the proper adjustments through diet and lifestyle and everything you're talking about is so important to aging well and aging with longevity, with quality, I always say. Because that, you can age, you can get old. We age every second of every day. But whether or not we have quality of life is up to us. It really is, and to take control of our own life. So I want to go back because I want to get into the detoxing. What you said that juicing detoxes are bad for you. Now that's another bill of goods that are being sold to the general public, like, oh, let's get in shape for the wedding this weekend, or our bikini out of town, and then everybody goes, I mean, I have daughters in their 30s, and they go to the juicing, to the juice ranch place and get their little kit, and they juice and detox. They have detoxing comes with headaches and other, ailments that you feel because your body is getting rid of all the toxins. But why is juicing bad? And then let's get into what is good and what So,
well, you just hit on the headaches, number one. Okay, so why are you having headaches? Maybe it's the toxins, but maybe it's because you're hungry and you're not getting the protein. Your body needs the protein and the amino acids to build and to use and for energy. And why does juicing work a little bit? It's not because of the juice that you're taking in, it's because of what you're not eating. I always talk about vegans, how they always feel great that first 6 months. And it's not that they're eating all this healthy food, it's that they've stopped eating, or at least most of them have stopped eating the processed foods. And those processed foods aren't real foods, and they're backing up your liver. Well, number one, you get hangry because you are eating, your body's ingesting a low amount of calories. That is very different than intermittent fasting. When you're intermittent fasting, you're taking a break from eating, which actually will tap into your fat stores, and your body says, oh my God, I've got thousands of calories on my body to burn. Why would I ever slow down my metabolism? I'm going to actually rev it up. Yep. Whereas when you're juicing and you're taking 3 juices or 6 juices throughout the day and they're very low calorie, your body's saying, oh, I'm only getting 50 to 100 calories every 2 hours. I better slow down my metabolism. So you're going to feel lethargy and fatigue, and you're not going to get any of the good, like I mentioned, amino acids that you need from the proteins to sustain that good muscle mass and your brain. What's next is that in the juices, you've got the oxalates and the sulfur vegetables that are actually clogging your detoxification pathways. I'll never forget my sister. She says, Sarah, I've got this skin rash, that started up again 3 days ago. And I said, okay, what'd you do different? And she's a vegan, which we joke about, and she's starting to eat a little more meat now. But she said, well, I started my celery juicing again 3 days ago. I said, bingo. I said, celery is a vegetable that I love to eat. I love to eat it. I love to crunch it, and I love to eat a couple pieces of it. But that doesn't mean that I take 2 full stalks of it and juice it and power it down my body. And where that is wrong is it's full of oxalates. There's just a few oxalates in one stalk, and nature gives us that fiber to tell us, okay, we shouldn't eat more than a couple pieces of this. I'm full, right? And it's full of good nutrients. I love celery. But when you juice those vegetables, it's in concentrated amounts. Our ancestors did not have juicers. That was not the way we are meant to eat. And then you've got the other common vegetables to juice are spinach, which is the highest in oxalates. And oxalates will get themselves jabbed into your thyroid tissue, into your joints. They cause arthritis.
What are oxalates? Tell my viewers what that is, what that oxalates are.
Oxalates are compounds. They're oxalic acid that are part of the plant poison category. Our plants, if you look at plants, they can't run away from the tiger, right? So what they do is they have these poisons to keep humans and animals away from eating them. And the oxalates are one of those poisons where it combines, or oxalic acid combines with calcium in the body and gets deposited like little toothpicks. If you look up or Google oxalates and a picture of them on the internet, you'll see that they look like these little toothpicks, and they love to get into the thyroid, into your joints, into your kidneys. They cause kidney stones, gout, arthritis, and they slow down your thyroid. Essentially one of the main causes of Hashimoto's. So spinach is the worst offender. So if you juice it, anything, eating it and juicing it, take it out of your diet. Almonds and spinach should be out of everybody's diet. People are going to kill me when I say that.
I make almond milk from scratch, and I do almond butter, organic almond butter. So because of the oxalates, you're saying that it is, and even in small amounts, it's bad?
Those 2 foods I would just eliminate. Other nuts have oxalates as well. They're less offensive. For lettuces, I like to use the butter lettuce, the romaine lettuce, the iceberg lettuce, the big, dark, thick greens like Swiss chard and spinach. Those are the ones heaviest in oxalates.
But we're being told by all health professionals, by all functional medicine doctors and practitioners, people like Dr. Gundry and Dr. Mark Hyman, and we're being told that these dark leafy greens are necessary for our health and wellness and longevity. And even in the raw form, you're saying no.
I'm saying no. And the reality is, if you look at the wild animal protein, I'm very particular with my proteins because you want to stay away from chicken and conventional beef. They've got amyloid proteins in them. Those amyloid proteins get lodged into the tissues, including your brain, leading to dementia and Alzheimer's. But your body can't break them down. And so that is why I look to bison, lamb, deer, elk, wild fish. Those are the amino acids that get broken down in the liver and then repackaged into a nice, good package to build that healthy muscle that you're teaching all of your clients to try to build through their fitness programs. But what happens is those animal proteins actually have more nutrients in them than the spinach and the kale and the almonds. So you do get more nutrients from the wild animal protein. So back to the juicing, you're hangry. You also are low on salt, and we need those minerals from the meats and the good salts. Most people are not putting that I have an accelerated ancient salt that has over 62 minerals. When you're juicing, you're missing out on some of the proper minerals. You are slowing down your metabolism. You're feeling hangry. And then next time when you start eating again, that weight comes back. And a lot of times people actually gain more weight.
Yeah, I've seen that.
There's this, it doesn't do you any good. You don't feel good. And so what I try to tell people is the proper way to cleanse is to intermittent fast. And then when you do eat, stick to a wild animal protein diet and eat the vegetables because you want to eat them and because they taste good, not because you think you're getting some good, healthy nutrients out of them. And, you know, a lot of people say, Sarah, I don't go with that. Well, there's a difference between you and me, Debbie. I can eat certain vegetables that you can't,
Exactly.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
And
your food could be my poison. My food could be we learned that in our very first chapter of our integrative nutrition course, is that there are no two people alike. And food can be poison for one type of food, could be poison for one person, and it could be medicine and a wonderful plus for somebody else. So you could even have two fraternal twins fraternal twins that could be eating the same food, and they'll both have different reactions to the exact same food. And that's the individuality of each one of us. We're so unique. We're going to take a quick break, my one and only break today. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about because right now we're talking about the healthy wrong foods, the foods that we think are healthy but are actually wrong for us. And but I want to talk about the process of detoxing. You touched on it a little bit with intermittent fasting, but we'll talk about, I had conversations with my audience before what that is and what it entails. Maybe we can break it down time-wise, and then during those eating times, during the eating window, what it is that in generalities we should be eating. And then we'll talk about the supplements as well. So we'll be right back after this message from my sponsors. Stay with us. I'm very excited about a new partner that has a product that I literally use every day. I started taking Athletic Greens because I realized very quickly that I could not possibly get the nutrients I needed simply through the foods I ate. As a health and fitness professional, when I started researching the necessary vitamins and supplements we need every day to strengthen our immune system and slow the aging process, I realized I'd be taking a ton of pills, which I have never been on board with. So enter Athletic Greens. With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. I take one scoop every morning on an empty stomach in cold water or freshly made almond milk, and sometimes I incorporate it into a smoothie. Either way, the taste is great, kind of like a tropical flavor that I actually look forward to drinking. Athletic Greens is made from the finest ingredients. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. Athletic Greens contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. And Athletic Greens cost you less than $3 a day. With over 7,000 five-star reviews and recommended by professional athletes, how can you go wrong? So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/emerging. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/EMERGING to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I'm talking about almond milk there. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here with my guest, Sara Banta, and we're talking about detoxing and the healthiest way to optimize your health and your wellness through these detoxing techniques or protocols, I should say. And we're going to break that down right now, I think, and then we'll talk about the adding of supplements that everybody needs in general. So that's sort of our plan right now. I got the show running on my phone so I can see if you're checking in with us. And if you're watching live, do call us. We're at area code 323-524-2599. If you're not watching live and you have a comment about anything we've talked about so far or something that we're about to talk about, go ahead and put it down on my Facebook page. Ask a question. Myself or Sara will get back to you post-show. We keep everything going and alive on my YouTube channel, and I get comments sometimes 2, 3, 4 years later. So just when you find this, get involved with the conversation. All right, Sara, welcome back. So we started to touch a little bit on intermittent fasting. Will you talk about that a little bit, how it works, how it breaks down, just so for somebody who's just checking in right now or may not know what intermittent means when it comes to fasting? When they hear the word fasting, we all think starving ourselves, and that's anything but that. So do you want to explain what that process is?
Yeah, all it is just eating your caloric intake within a shorter window. And so that might look like you're going to bed at, let's see, you finish dinner at 7 p.m. and you go to bed and you wake up and you have your coffee and maybe push off your first meal until 10 or 12 the next day. And some people say, well, there's no way I could do that. Now, that is a sign that you have insulin resistance, because your blood sugar is going up and down and up and down, and it needs that breakfast or that morning food right away to stabilize your blood sugar. Once you do this just a few days in a row, you're going to actually make a huge impact on your insulin and your blood sugar. Mm-hmm. And insulin resistance is the quickest way to get yourself in trouble with chronic disease and accelerated aging. Mm-hmm. So just by intermittent fasting and squeezing that same amount of food, even if it includes almonds and your processed foods that we don't want you to eat, you're still doing yourself some good by squeezing them into a shorter window. Now, there are supplements to make it even easier, and that is where my specialty is. But another problem that people have, and where the intermittent fasting can help, is there's a disruption in the balance of bacteria in the gut that can lead to leaky gut or dysbiosis, mm-hmm. that leads to bloat and weight gain and autoimmune issues. And a lot of people will come to me saying, Sara, I can't get away with what I got away with 5-10 years ago as far as eating. And the causes are stress, age, antibiotics, plant poisons, like we just talked about with the oxalates. And I didn't even mention the sulfur group of vegetables. You're really going to kill me here, Debbie. Is the sulfur foods are egg yolks and onions, garlic, bok choy, cabbage, mm-hmm. cauliflower, broccoli. I was following a ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, eating these great keto-friendly vegetables of cauliflower and cabbage, and my stomach looked like I was 4 months pregnant. And I'm sitting here going, it does not make sense. Well, back to individual diets, those vegetables block my detoxification pathways and don't work for me.
That's interesting, because normally they're considered probiotic type vegetables when you talk.
Absolutely.
Yes, and they have a lot of nutrients that actually our body needs, but are you saying eliminate them from your diet, or just try to take them out if you're feeling bloated? Maybe this could be part of the issue.
So the program that I've set up is through my Ascent Diet Cleanse, really helps people kind of eliminate all of the worst offenders, heal their leaky gut, so that they can then eat them again. And you had mentioned earlier that you could have two twins that could have different dietary profiles. Well, you can actually have the same person who at a different time in life can eat different foods, right?
That's true.
So I now, after I've healed myself, I can go out and have cabbage and bok choy and maybe some broccoli, which is really full of sulfur and used to make me super bloated. So I can handle some, but what we call it is the tipping point. What is it that tipped you over? Or maybe it's during a different season, or maybe you just had the cold and flu and your immune system's compromised so that you can't really digest certain foods. I go back and forth sometimes with just eating the wild animal protein on my plate. And then some meals I'll have just vegetables, but that my body loves, that I know work with my body and don't make me bloated. So I really have learned how to get in tune with what my body's telling me and what's not going to lead to that dysbiosis. But you constantly need to keep the processed foods out, lower the sugars in your diet. That doesn't mean all of them, but in moderation, depending on your level of insulin resistance, the intermittent fasting. So what I tell people is when you focus on the wild animal protein and you eat that first, try this, everybody, tonight. When you sit down for dinner, you've got your plate, maybe you even have some rice on your plate, your meat and your vegetables and a salad. Start by eating your meat and see what happens. What happens is the amino acids in the wild animal protein trigger a hormone in the gut called CCK. And that hormone tells your brain, oh, I've got plenty of nutrients. I've got plenty of caloric intake. I'm good. I don't need to eat more. And if you start by eating all the other foods, especially if you start with the carbs, you're going to end up wanting seconds or at least finishing all the food on your plate. So there's a difference in how the different foods react in the gut, signaling to your brain.
And your blood sugar levels too. They affect the way, the order in which you eat your food, the types of food have to do with blood sugar spikes and drops as well. So balance. Yeah. So
one of my biggest key takeaways for people that are on a plateau and can't lose any more weight, if they intermittent fast and they break their fast with just a lean protein, even if it's just 1 hour before their next big meal, that will raise their glucagon, which is the fat burning hormone, over insulin, so that you get even a more of a fat burning bump from than just fasting. So it's a way to increase that fat burning. And then what you just touched on is sugar and glucose has 3 different pathways from the gut to the brain to tell the brain, I want more, I want more, I want more. And did you know it only has 1 pathway for cocaine or alcohol or drugs or anything else? 3 for sugar. It is the most addictive drug we have, and it elicits a huge dopamine response. So we can actually retool that by eating that healthy, that healthy animal protein can actually rewire your brain to want the omega-3 fatty acids and the amino acids to trigger a dopamine response so that our brain starts to crave those healthier, nutrient-dense foods.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. I'm curious, and with everything that you just said, I have 2 questions for you. One is having teenagers, how do you get them to eat this way? Or they're individual too, so they probably can stomach some things. Like, are they eating carbs and gluten and things that are aggravating you, that may have aggravated your son? Or are they following a protocol too that works for them based on working with you?
You know what, I wish they could answer this question for me, but what they have learned over the years, number one, my son takes his health very seriously because he knows how serious it was. And he is a college student. first 3 days of eating dorm food, I loved it because he never appreciated my cooking more than those first three
Okay.
days. And he said, Mom, you know what? I wish, I know the food's not good for me and it's not organic, but it really just doesn't even taste good. So what he started doing was cooking for himself in his dorm. And he cooks whole food and he feels a difference. And my kids, they're allowed to eat off the program. Number one, I don't pay for it, right? So it's out of their own pocketbook that they have to pay for any food that I don't think is healthy. But I'm
Mm,
not, they're teenagers now. They
right.
drive, they can get themselves to the takeout food if they really want it. But they also really care about their bodies. And they've had ailments, all three of them. I mean, everybody does. They've learned so much about how food affects their brain and their learning and their sport, and they've realized what works for them. And they, the girls also care about the way they look. They care about the way their skin doesn't break
Yes.
out or breaks out, and how is their hair, and of course their athleticism for their sports. So I think it's been a combination of me essentially shoving it down their throats when they were young enough to
Hmm.
listen to me, to now being smart kids that
Yeah.
really
They do get it.
understand it.
They do
And
get it,
they get it.
absorbs over a period of time. But I know that teenage years for my girls were a little different than now. My girls are in their 30s, and I have a grandchild. So I have my daughter is raising a child, and I noticed that a lot of influence that I had on her is now being passed on to that generation. And, the same thing when my kids went to college, never bought the meal plan because they wouldn't eat off of it. And so they, did the healthy things. When I went to college, and I went to college in 1976, when salad bars were becoming a big thing in like pizza places. And I was so not into junk food. It was the start of my health journey. And so I went off the meal plan within the first week because everything was yellow. Everything was yellow because it was like deep fried, and I couldn't even identify what was what. Everything just looked alike. And I went off immediately, ate off of the salad bars, and that was the start of my health journey. Like, I started to feel better. My brain fog went away. My hair started to grow. My nails started to grow. I just had this energy. I wanted to start working out. It just, everything changed when I got away from the process. I call myself a processed kid because I got away from the processed food. And so as a result, fast forward, getting married and having two children, I was able to take that kind of lifestyle and bring it to them from a healthy point within parameters. Like my kids, my youngest didn't have sugar until she was like 5. My oldest didn't have sugar until she was like 5. But then once she got a taste, she became sort of stealing candy bars and cookies out of people's cupboards when she'd go to play dates, which is a really hard thing. That has not changed, this whole play date, going to other people's homes and having their food. But really, as we know, 80% of the time we try the best we can, and then 20% of the time is when you don't really have the control, or you're out of town, or you're at a party, or whatever the situation. But at least the majority of the time that you're taking mindfulness about what you're putting in your body. I think that's important. And so I'm here to tell you the teenage years, the reason why I asked is because that was probably the most difficult time to keep the healthy protocol going for my children, but then they grew up and now they're having families of their own. And now it makes a huge difference, which is what we want, the legacy we want to create and keep going, right, which we hope. And now we want the ripple effect, which is why we're practitioners in what we do, to get it out to for the greater good, to a bigger audience. I also had one more question for you before I want to talk about the most important supplements that we need and what you have to offer. But what do you think of lectins? Because that's another, what we think is healthy is not healthy. The whole plant paradox thing that Dr. Gundry writes about.
So this is what's so funny, Debbie, is before I got my genes tested and worked with a practitioner to help with my specific diet, I was avoiding lectins and I was eating all of the sulfur and oxalate foods. whereas I actually could handle lectins. My body was fine with the lectins. So, this goes back to what's your poison is not mine.
Yes.
And but right now I tend to stay away from most of them. I put a couple tomatoes on my salads. I have eggplant when it's served to me because that's so good. I eat cucumbers. Cucumbers are very minor with lectins. The grains and the beans and those not only have lectins, but they have mold, and they have a lot of them have oxalates. So some of those big lectin foods have all of these other plant poisons in them, and it's not just the lectins. So, there are certain ones that work for my body and I don't necessarily take an issue with. But what I tell people is let's try to eliminate them until we see the gut heal. And then we can start introducing them and seeing if you have a reaction.
Yeah, like an elimination thing. I do that with my clients as well to see what they're reacting to and what's going on with them. So in the time we have left, what are the supplements we should, again, we're all individual, but what do we know sort of universally that we should be taking? And how often? And I know that we can access through you. So let's talk about what you have to offer.
Well, I have put together a cleanse that's called the Ascent Diet Cleanse, and it includes an accelerated keto pill that kicks you into fat burning within 30 minutes. So when I tell you it's easy to intermittent fast, I've taken people that are addicted to sugar, eating 8 times a day, to people that say, Sara, it's 2 p.m. and I'm not hungry. Why is this? Because it flips you into that fat burning, and then your body is just eating its own fat, cleaning its liver while at the same time, and allows your body to reduce the inflammation, to start cleansing the liver, to increase that metabolism and increase that ATP production so that you have better physical and mental energy. And then it also has the accelerated iodine. Every single person listening, if you are not supplementing with iodine, you are deficient. And iodine is really important for brain fog, for your spiritual health, for depression, for just physical energy. And the accelerated iodine increases ATP production by 18 times. That is 18 times, not 18%. And it is the only iodine supplement that's toxic free, radiation free, and 100% bioavailable. Most people are using an iodine supplement that has radioactive isotopes in it and heavy metals in it, so it's backfiring as you're trying to detox. It helps help the apoptosis, and that's the destruction of diseased and cancer cells. It actually reduces your cancer risk by over 50%. And it actually is able to reverse the damage done to the DNA by the mRNA, spike proteins, and graphene oxide. So that is an absolute. And with that there's the accelerated cellular detox powder. This is a daily detox. You do a little bit at night, every night before you go to bed. It coats the stomach, the intestinal lining, reduces inflammation, helps with bloat and regularity, alleviates that Crohn's disease or colitis, and it can help with leaky gut, reduces inflammation, and it also soaks up those toxins from the day and soaks up the toxins from the lifetime of just heavy metals and radiation. And the accelerated silver that I'm going to talk about in a second, the detox powder, they are all enhanced with scalar frequencies. And that's where I am different than any other supplement brand. Those scalar frequencies enhance the efficacy of the supplement. It is what you call a bioinformational nutraceutical, where these scalar frequencies are enhancing the efficacy of the product.
Can you tell the audience what a scalar frequency is, just to explain assuming nobody knows?
Well, it's a very hard concept to understand. It was uncovered by Nikola Tesla, and essentially they are frequencies that can heal your biofield. So we all have a biofield. We've got our physical body, our mental body, our spiritual body, and our biofield. And you've heard of things called like your aura. This is where there's imbalances in the bioenergetics of your body. Well, the scalar frequencies can be embedded in supplements like this silver or the detox powder or the acceleradine to enhance the efficacy, enhance the detoxification of the body, just beyond what the supplement would be able to do alone. And that accelerated silver is what turned my son's health around when he was 9 years old. And not one of my kids has been on antibiotics. And I can tell you, with what's gone on over the last 2 years, we all tested positive at one point, but not one of us had a single symptom. I think I had a headache one night thinking, oh, what's this? Is this hormonal? And that was it. So I can tell you that we have skated through all of this and had strong immune systems because of the accelerated silver. But I know we're almost out of time, but the Ascent Diet Cleanse puts together a cleanse that enhances the detoxification pathways while you're feeling good and you're eating real food, as I described. And it comes along with my free group coaching.
So, it does. Okay. So does that include the dietary necessary things that you were talking about? Okay. So that way,
yes,
you're eating healthy and you're taking this at night. How long do you do this for? Is this
all of the supplements that I just mentioned, I do daily. Every day.
So it's a daily protocol, a daily routine. Yes.
And where the Ascent Cleanse is different is it has a liver flush portion of it where you take some pills to soften liver stones and gallstones. And at the end of 2 weeks, you actually flush those stones into the toilet. And your liver is where your thyroid hormones are turned from the inactive to the active. It's where all of your detoxification happens. So if you've got all of these pebbles and green pea size stones in there, how can your liver work? And that's why your metabolism slows down as you get older, or your hormones are out of whack, and PMS is worse than normal. It's because your liver isn't functioning. And people just feel a huge boost in mental and physical energy after they go through that.
Wow. So how can people find you to do this? What should they do? And how does it work?
My website is acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Soon it will be also sarabantahealth.com. We're moving it to a new platform. But you can email me through the website. You can join me on Telegram through my free group coaching. And the links is on my website, but you can also just email me and ask me for it. I also am happy to put together a personalized protocol for you, depending on your health issues, whether it's chronic disease or you just want to reach your optimal state of health.
And so this is really, you're offering a great reset to the audience, which is a wonderful thing. So I'm telling you guys, you should get in touch with Sara. Well, we are there. We're out of time. So I want you to leave us with words of wisdom, final thoughts, anything you want to leave us with.
We've talked about some plant poisons and some healthy foods that aren't good for you. But if you can take one thing away from this, eliminate the processed foods. Eliminate the vegetable oils. Those are the worst offenders. Sugar can go in and out of your body within a day, but those vegetable oils like canola oil stick in your body, in your cells for over a year. And that's what's causing the true detriment to our society today.
I agree with you 100%. And just about every guest that I've had that is within when we talk about health and wellness, and the very first thing that you should do besides hydrate, but is to eliminate the processed food. If you start from that, you're making huge strides, because once you do, you start to feel better. And like what I was saying about my road, when you start to feel better, you do better. And then before you know it, you're educating yourself. And then you're on a road like you and I are at, where you just can't get enough of learning and activating and helping others get there with you. So I want to thank you for your time and your expertise. It's fabulous. And
Thank you, Debbie.
Everybody reach out to Sara. If you're watching this, it's right up on the screen. Otherwise, it's acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Go there and you can learn so much on that website. And you have a podcast. What's the name of your podcast, Sara?
Accelerated Health Radio and TV. It's showed over 100 different channels, so you can find me everywhere.
And there's a lot of good information about health and wellness on there. I've listened this last week. So I want to thank you again. And I want to thank you, my audience, for joining us today. I'll be back here in 2 weeks. I do the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So in the meantime, keep going out and having those conversations that connect to a healthier you. Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.